questions?
I'll make a start. Have I interpreted correctly that the focus and finish is about execution, and that, like much of TOC, the value comes from executing better rather than planning better, but you still need a good enough plan for various purposes?
I would not put it that way.
No.
I would say that focus and finish needs to be embedded in your plan, and then you need to execute to it. So whatever focus and finish you're going to do, you should put it in the plan. Right? So the way you define your tasks, the way you stagger your projects, the way you define your full kit, they are part of your plan. It's not about execution. So focus and finish should be planned and executed. It's not just about planning versus execution.
Yeah. And embedding the mindset in your plan gives you a plan that will deliver faster than ever believed possible.
Yes, your mode of operation should
more.
be, the mode of optimization, the global optimization logic should be embedded in the plan.
But as you say, so long as you execute effectively, you don't even need a plan to execute effectively. But in a business, you can't suddenly have a project finished because you need to expect it and exploit the deliverable.
I'm not sure about that either. No, because if you have a large organization, if you have multiple departments, how do you keep them synchronized and focus on the same things? You need the plan. Plan is not needed when you can operate things out of your head, bottom line. Plan is needed when you need to put it on paper because it needs to be shared. It needs to be a shared document.
Is that where the role for buffered plans comes in?
Yes, the moment you have a plan, now if you want to follow the plan, you need critical chain. You cannot follow a non-critical chain plan.
Questions?
Yeah, once again, coming back on the focus and finish, which is really a very good thing, but what about engineering changes? Because when you are making a big turbine or things like that, you always know you try to focus and finish on one part, and then at the end something comes, you have an engineering change, and what was finished is in fact not finished. You have to reopen and so on. So how do you integrate that? That's
very good. So the way we have found is that you can anticipate these changes, not what exactly the change will be, but the fact that there will be a change a little bit upfront, and you try to focus and finish not an individual detailed activity. You try to focus and finish that big. Actually, there is a webinar link that I should send you to. This is Siemens that do wind turbines. Right? So when you are in the R&D phase, there's a lot of these iterations that happen. And then thinking about focus and finish so that you will minimize these changes. That was the thinking that went into focus and finish. So it allowed us to think through all the different detailed activities that should be done together. Right? And we said focus and finish this. And when you finish this, you will not have an iteration. Right? The analogy they used, they used two analogies. Analogy of a diode. They said a good project plan should be like a diode. Current flows only one way. Right? And the second thing was, what is a task? They said a task is like a room where you can imagine all the different people that are required to collaborate. They come in a room, do the task, and move on.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure I understood everything. Really, you went fast and probably a lot of things to review, and I will take time to review your slides. Just a detailed question. You spoke about tier 1 and tier 2, and you said the CCPM is useful for the tier 1, for the macro planning, if I understood well. But in my mind, we could use also the CCPM for the tier 2, but we could have sub-project to consider the package as sub-project, and it could be useful to use CCPM approach, including for these tasks.
You could, but that means you're going to now have buffers at the sub-project level, and you don't want that. Right? You want flexible. So there is a case for having sub-projects when you have ultra-large projects, when you are building a thermal power plant. You will take the entire project and break it down into maybe 10 different sub-projects. But within those sub-projects, there will be tier 1 tasks and tier 2 tasks.
How about scope change with projects? Would you start all over with a new planning and new subtask? Or what would you suggest?
That's good. So So when you have scope changes, right? The first thing, at least we advise our customers, is think through the agile approach. Now, how can you develop things or do projects in smaller batches so that once you finish that batch, you don't have to revisit it. And so that is one major way of reducing the scope changes. Right? And then tier 1, tier 2 is just for handling day-to-day stuff. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so that means that if the scope is really changing, you have to replan
The rest of it, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sanjeev, because that was, for those who know critical chain a bit, it's fairly thought-provoking. And I hope it was thought-provoking even for those who don't know critical chain. Thank you very much, Sanjeev.